Awesome. Probably give it a couple minutes like last time, let people roll in and get it kicked off. Oh, there we go. Awesome. I give it to about 5:35, 5:37 and kick us off. Make sure everybody gets in here before we get started without them. Alrighty, you ready to get started? So this workshop will be follow along, a lot less, I would say, formal or than the last one. So as we're going, if you have questions, unmute yourself and ask them, and we'll get everything sorted out so that by the end of the workshop, you'll all have a functioning smart contract package on the Sui network that you can interact with and a wallet that you can use it with. So to get started, we're going to need to download Sui, which I'll send a link to um, their site there, and I'll also share my screen so you can follow along with me if you want to see how to. Here we go. Alrighty, so I'll go ahead and share that. Um, so first off, we'll need to install. How many of us are any of us on Mac, or most of us on Windows, or what is kind of what does everybody run in there off of today?
I don't know if you can see can you see the chat, Wyatt? I can read it to you.
Yeah. Okay, I just pulled it up. So
Okay.
kind of
Yeah.
a mix of Mac and Windows. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
seems about half Mac, half Windows. So we'll go through both. For Mac, the installation of Sui will be a little bit easier. Daniel, is Homebrew installed by default on Mac, or is that something that they'll have to get?
If they might have to get it, but the installation's also
Pretty simple.
pretty easy. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, here we go. So, okay. So if you're on Mac, go ahead and try this command in your console, just to brew install Sui. And then for Windows folks, we're going to have to install something called Chocolatey to install Sui for ours. Um, guess. Let me check chat. Did anybody try the Mac version and have problems with it or not have problems? I'll go ahead and stick that in there for Mac people. All right, so there's the command in chat. Run that. If you have problems, let me know, and we'll go through on installing Homebrew. Um, for our uh, for our Windows folks, awesome. Glad to hear that, JB. For our Windows folks, I just sent a link in chat that will lead you to the Sui installation page. And once you get there, you can go down to this quick install and open up this chocolatey.org link. And then we'll go with install on the top right. And here's just a faster way to get to that page. So what we will need to do is, for starters, we'll need to make sure that our execution policy, we'll have to turn it to all signed initially to get this to work. At the end of this workshop, I'll go through and show you how to turn your execution policy back on, just for the added security of that. But to start off with, you'll go to right-click your Windows logo and click on Windows PowerShell Admin. And then from there, you'll type git execution policy. Or I think I typed that wrong. Oh, git dash execution policy. And if it says restricted, like mine does here, then what you'll want to do is you're going to have to type set execution policy. And then you're going to want to type to all signed, capital A and capital S. Which is like that. Once you do that, it'll ask, the execution policy helps protect you from scripts you don't trust. And so go ahead and click Y if you are comfortable changing that off, which we'll need to install Sui. Once you've done that, you should be able to run git execution policy again, and it should return to all signed. Do any of our Windows folks need to go through any of that, or did it work well for all y'all? Okay. So once you have your
We have one
uh,
question, Wyatt,
oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
or
Uh,
not a question, comment.
okay, is not working for me. Okay, what did it say? Permission denied. Did you run it as are you using an administrator PowerShell? Hmm. Okay. Um, yeah, let me see if there's a quick fix for that real quick. And if not, I can look at with you in a bit. So, okay. Uh, permission denied.
I think we could probably move on right now,
Yeah,
Wyatt, but
okay.
we'll help
Try it.
Brandon
Okay.
if he still has
Yeah,
the issue.
help them out in a
Brandon.
bit. Okay. So for those of you that it did work on, then we're going to go ahead and run, what is it? Yeah, board. So we'll go ahead and run this to install Chocolatey onto your system. Step only for Windows. Yes, yes, Nick. This one is for um, Windows only. The Mac folks, y'all be using Homebrew. And so just check and see if that's installed on yours. And if not, we can help out with that too. Just run this in your console. Okay, awesome. So did anybody have problems getting that, Windows users getting that command to run? If not, we'll move on. All right, sweet. So then once you have your Choco installed, you can go ahead and close out of your PowerShell and open up a command prompt as admin. And once you have that opened up, you're going to want to run just Choco install Sui. And then it should install it for you. For me, I've already got it. Um, but still says restricted. Okay. We can do for that. So go back to your PowerShell then, and instead of running all signed, go to set execution policy to bypass, and then Y as well to allow that through. And then try if this ran through correctly last time, you may not need to, but if so, run that command. Sky process force. Oh yeah, so that should set that fine there. That second script we ran should set it to bypass as well, but let me know. It says restricted on PowerShell. Is it saying where's it saying restricted when you're trying to do? Is that for the set execution policy? Yeah. Okay. I haven't run into that issue myself. Daniel, do you think that is
And
worth?
you're running on admin in the terminal?
That's what I was thinking.
Hmm.
Oh, it's saying okay. It's saying restricted after you. Okay, so once you check what it is, uh, yes, yeah, you type in Y. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's why. Yep. So type in Y once it asks if you want to um, bypass that. So once you get this big message of execution policy change, type Y. Okay. Then did anybody have issues running the Choco install Sui or the Brew install Sui? What do we do after typing Y? You can run a git execution policy again to make sure that it says either bypassed or all signed, either or. Um, and from there, um, if that works, then move over to your command prompt to run a Choco install. Alrighty. Did that work for you, Ashwat? Awesome. Cool. And then, so after you run that and you've set your execution policy, you run Choco install Sui, we can move on to our next step, which is setting up a CLI account. Now, for this workshop, I'm going to assume you've already got a development environment, whether that be VS Code or if you're just using, you know, a text editor, whatever it may be, just to be able to type in some code. Assume you've already got one of those. If not, you can just follow along, same thing in a text document and get a development environment later. But so we're going to go ahead and move straight to setting up your CLI account. So what you want to do is in your same command line that you have as admin, you'll want to type in Sui and client. And now for me, it brings up a bunch of stuff because I've already got it installed. But for you, it's likely going to ask to connect to a full node server. And I'll pull up this link here and show y'all what that will look like. Sui address. Oh, different one. Not. Well, okay. Did anybody have any issues with that? I should have asked them if they wanted to connect to a full server. Here we go. Uh, so it should ask you, um, Sui client. Okay, so if you receive the following response, config file doesn't exist. Do you want to connect to a full node server? Hit Y, you do. And then it'll say Sui node, it'll default to testnet, so just hit enter, allow that. And then for key scheme, you want to select 0 for ED25519. And once you have that, we'll be ready to move forward. Did anybody have any issues getting that to work? Awesome. So what we'll type in now, what we're going to do now is go ahead and figure our Sui CLI to use testnet as our active environment. So in your command prompt, you're going to want to type in Sui client new dash env for environment dash dash alias testnet dash dash RPC HTTPS slash full node dot testnet dot sui dot io 443:443, and I'll send this command into chat as well. Once you have that, go ahead and hit enter. There we go. I already have one, but it will set one up for you. And then you want to go ahead and switch to that test net by running Sui client switch dash dash env testnet, which will look like this. And that will switch you over to your testnet environment. All right. So once we've got you on your you got your CLI account set up and we've connected to a testnet environment, we're going to go ahead and try and get funding for our Sui account. So we can run on the test net. So there's a thing called the faucet, which you can go to get some Sui to use for your transactions on testnet. I just sent the link in chat. And so if you head over to that website, it'll look like this, and it's going to ask you for your wallet address. And so this is the address that we just set up. So you can get that through the CLI by typing in this command. Yes, we're on Sui client faucet. Yes, that as well. Um, I forget that Sui client faucet straight from the command. And
No, maybe not. They might
okay,
want you
well,
to
all right, it's
use
not
it. Never
working then.
mind.
Okay, so that's not working, but you can use that Sui client. You can go to that faucet, and to get your active address, just type in Sui client active dash address, and that will pull up your active address there. So you can copy that and plug it into the website, verify you're a human, and then request the testnet. For me, I've already exceeded my limit, but for you, it should all give you one Sui to be able to test your packages with. If it's the permission denied. Ah, okay, so
It
did
looks like
anybody?
it looks like
Oh,
JB's a few steps behind.
okay,
Looks like
JB,
he's doing the full node support, the setup, which you did a few
few
steps ago,
steps
I
ago.
think.
Okay, so this was the defaults to Sui. Okay, so once it says defaults to Sui, if not test or if not specified, just go ahead and hit enter. So it'll default you to the test net. Then it's going to ask you what key scheme you want to generate. You want to hit 0 for ED25519. So just type in 0 and enter once you get to there. Chocolatey isn't working for me. What is it doing, Ashwat? No problem, JB. Choco install Sui command, but it isn't working. What kind of output did it give you? If you could copy the error message or even just paraphrase it.
Yeah, you don't
Okay,
don't
yeah,
paste the dollar
yeah.
sign.
Don't include this. All right. Well, we're gonna go.
Yeah, like in
Oh,
documentation, just for all you for those who don't know, like the dollar sign just represents like a new line in the terminal, basically.
environment config with name testnet. Okay,
Well, that's just
that's
good. I
fine,
mean,
JB. Yeah, it just means you're a step ahead, JB. Okay, so moving forward, so we're gonna set up. Okay, so hopefully, all those that are caught up, have y'all gone to the Sui faucet, plugged in your address, and gotten your Sui to work with? I'm going to assume so and move forward then. Um, so next up, we have set up the move package. Uh, so that is we're going to be following this tutorial here on the docs, but we will be making our own little changes to it. Um, awesome. So for this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move over to whatever directory you want to work on with this. And so for us, we're going to just create a new, do it on the desktop now for speed's sake. Create a new folder, and we're going to call it the blacksmith underscore project. Alrighty, so then you're going to want to go ahead and navigate to this directory in your console. So I'm going to use CD here to get there. And once you've navigated to your directory, you want to go ahead and use Sui move new, and then name this blacksmith underscore package, um, and then hit enter. And that will automatically create a package for you that we're going to work in. I will copy that code over to uh, Zoom as well. Okay. Any issues with creating a package? Awesome. Then we're going to go ahead and just go over a quick overview with this. So with this, you have your move.toml, and oops, we'll see this is here. And this is our manifest, which is going to define our package. So we have our trust. So we have our package, our dependencies, our addresses, our dev dependencies, and dev addresses. So for us, we don't need to change anything here. It's already preset. And we can go straight to working on our move code. So for that, we're going to want to go into sources and open up blacksmith package.move. All right. So here's where we're going to start writing our smart contract. And for us, we're writing a program that is going to take, upon initialization, it's going to create an object called Forge, and it's going to move that to your account that we just created. And then it will also, once this smart contract has been published on the chain, you'll be able to interact with it. And as long as you have that Forge in the account that you're interacting with, you'll be able to create swords, which are other objects on the chain that will be under your account at that time that you could do whatever you want with. So to get started, we're going to go ahead and let me pull it up. Start writing our code. Oops. There we All right. So for this code, we're going to go ahead and define a the module name. So this is a module, and it's inside of blacksmith package, is our package, or sorry, yeah, is our package, and underscore package, and our module is named um, just blacksmith module. And then semicolon will define this. So from there, we're going to go ahead and go ahead and speed us through here since we're starting to run a little lower on time. We'll create a public struct sword, which has a key, has key and can be stored. And so we're going to give it an ID of UID, and this just gives it a unique ID on chain. And then it will also have two attributes, magic and strength, which are both unsigned integers 64. So I will go ahead and copy this into chat so you can have it as well. And that is our public struct sort. Then what else we have is we're going to have our function called initialize or init. And this is going to be what runs once and only once when the code is first or when our smart contract is first published. Our not smart, but our module, package. And so what this will do is we have a function initializer, and it takes our transaction context, which is just all the information about the transaction currently happening. That's, who's sending it, gas fees, just all this stuff involved with that. And then we're going to let admin equal forge. And this is what we are going to be. Did I miss? No, I didn't. Okay. Oh, there we go. So we're going to create a new variable called admin that is going to equal one of our. I missed that. Sorry. We'll also be having a sword or forge struct. And so this similarly has a UID and a sword's created just to kind of keep track of, we can use that later to keep track of how many swords that we've created. And this has key as well, but not store because it can't be stored inside of other objects is what that means. And so then we're going to create this. We're going to create a new variable called admin that is a forge, and it's going to have an ID of, we're going to create a new object with CTX, and we're going to start it at 0 swords created. Then we're going to pass this forge object to the person who sent the module, which is going to be the package publisher. So I will send this code, which you can add underneath your sword. And so then we're going to have some more functions. These are public functions as well. One called magic, one called strength, and one called swords created. So these can be ran, interacted with, so people can, if they're holding a sword in their account when they interact with this, they can pass it in to prove that they own it. But the sword object won't move into this function because we're just looking at it with this and, which is a reference to the sword. Just making sure they have this, and it's going to return integer value. So this way, if they have a sword, they can interact with the smart contract to see how much magic it has, or likewise down here, how much strength it has. We've also got one where you can pass a reference to your forge in your account, and it will tell you how many swords you've created and return that to the PTB that's requesting it. And so I will also send this code as well, which you can stick underneath your forge structure. Alrighty. So finally, we've got one more function, which is going to be how we create our swords. We've made this forge and we've passed it to the uh, original publisher of the package. And so now we want that person with this forge to be able to create swords, but also only them. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a public function called create swords that has a argument takes in variable called forge, which is going to be a mutable reference to the forge that they're supposed to hold. And then it will take two integer values, one for magic and one for strength. And then as well, it's going to get that transaction context so it knows who's sending this, where it needs to go to, and etc. Uh, and then it has a return type of sword. Once we're done with this, we're going to be returning a sword to the account which has requested this, or the PTB that's made use of it. And so in there, we create or we set our forge.swords created equals forge.sword created plus one. And this just changes that value on our forge structure and our account to indicate that it has created a sword now. And then we're going to create a sword with ID of object new CTX, and then the magic value and strength value that were given when this function was called. And this function doesn't need a return statement, because if you have a declaration or a creation of an object at the end of your function, it knows to return that just intrinsically. So I will go ahead and paste that over as well. That you can put that, and that finishes up our move code. So you should have all of that kind of pasted together, and blacksmith package. And one error I did find: make sure your module at the top has B and P capitalized if you capitalize them. This name here, this blacksmith package, should match the name that is on your move.toml. That's fine. So once we have all that, you can go ahead and save this, and your back to the command prompt we were at before should still have. Oh, actually, it doesn't. We'll need to go one folder deeper from our blacksmith project. We need to be in our blacksmith package. And so once we're there, then we can run the nets command, which is, and this is to publish, by the way, our package. Now that we've built it, this publishes it to chain. And so we navigate to our root folder, and then we're going to run Sui client publish. That's it, just Sui client publish. And then that will go through and build our code. We had a compilation error. Address is not assigned a value. Do you know what might be causing that, Daniel?
What's blacksmith package?
This is not assigned a
What
value.
happens if you make the B and the P lowercase there?
Okay, let me just try that
What's
again.
it? What does it say?
Let's try it. P save and
That might work. Yeah, because
okay.
if you go back to the TOML file, it doesn't need to match the name. What it needs to match is what's on line 21, which is the
Oh, okay,
address,
the addresses. Okay,
the name of it. Yeah.
I see.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, so then once you do that, it should have successfully built your um, published your package like it did on mine. And one important value that we need to get off of here is our package ID, which we'll use in just a little bit with our programmable transaction block, which you just need to go down to published objects, which will be under object changes. And you want to grab this package ID right here and save that somewhere. If you do lose it, you can get it back later, but it's a lot easier to grab it now. So, okay, so once you write that down, now you have successfully written a module, or written a package, published it to the smart contract, and now we're going to go over how to write a PTB, or a programmable transaction block, that allow you to interact with this code on chain. So first off, there's going to be slight differences between our Mac and our Windows folks on how this works. But it's mostly going to be the same. And so we'll just go ahead and start going through that. So let me go ahead. So what you want to do is create a batch file. And where I would put this is, let me go. desktop. Where I would put this batch folder is just in your blacksmith project, but not in the package. You can go ahead and go new text document and call this PTB underscore CLI. The name doesn't matter here. It's just a batch file you're making to run. And this needs to be .bat. And then once you've done that, you can hit right click and edit, and this will allow you to start programming your own batch file. Daniel, do you know the steps to create a file for running code on the Mac environment?
It's pretty similar. Instead of a .bat, it's typically like a .sh.
Okay.
But they can also just follow along and type it out on their terminal directly, and it
Mhm.
would work the same. So
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
Um, okay, so from there, we're going to go ahead and start our awesome. Sweet. So what we want to do is we want to run, and as Daniel said, you can just type this in your um, console, but we're going to run Sui client PTB. So this tells us we're using the Sui, we're using client, and then we're going to be using a programmable transaction block. So the first argument we want to provide, or the argument we want to provide to this programmable transaction block, is that we're making a move call. And this is just essentially saying that we're calling a function within a package or module somewhere. And so the next value that we need is the value that we just copied, that value I told you to save. And it should actually still be here. If you check under object change, published objects, we want this package ID to be able to tell where we need to go to find this. So we do move call and then the location of the package that we're calling from. And then you'll do colon, colon, and then the name of the module that you are calling a function from, which is going to be blacksmith underscore package, and then colon, colon, and then finally the name of the function that you want to call, which will be create sort. So for Mac folks, if you are writing in a .sh file, I believe it's backslash that you'll use to go to the next line. But if we have any Windows folks that aren't just writing in console, writing in a bat file, put the symbol, it's the symbol above sits to the power of, hit enter and then space. Once we've done that, our next argument, and if you're just using console, or if you're just using console wherever you are, don't use the symbol, just click space as, you know, so instead of that, you would just space and keep typing. But if you are using this, they're in new line. Then the next thing we need is our first argument for create sort, which we know is our forge. So for that, we're going to need our forge object ID, so we know what object to pass into there. And so for that, we can type in Sui in our console. We type in Sui client objects, and this will give us a list of all the objects inside of our client. So for this address, I have a lot of objects, but you want to find that forge object, and then you're looking for the object ID, and you want to take that and copy it and put it wherever, save it somewhere, or even just write it down if you've got one of these pulled up ready already. So the first argument, and for Windows folks, you'll have to put a parentheses at and then that, or it won't work. For Mac folks, I believe you can just paste the address as is. Then you have to put in your second argument, which is your integer, our magic U64. And so for this one, I want the magic value to be 54. Doesn't matter as long as it's a U64 integer. And then you have the next argument, which is another integer for strength, which I'll set to 222. And then finally, we need to, after we run this code, it's going to return a sword. And we need to do something with this sword, or else the PTB won't go through because the sword would be destroyed. And Sui move does not allow for the destruction of objects by default. And so what we're going to need to do is run a dash dash assign. And this is going to assign the return, what gets returned from this function to a variable. And so we're going to call this return sword. And then finally, we need to do something with that so it doesn't get destroyed when the PTB finishes. And so for that, we're going to transfer the object. We do a dash dash transfer objects, transfer dash objects, space, then in brackets, return sword, and then the address which you want that to go to, which is your address. And it was the same one that you had copied when you were getting Sui from the faucet before. And so once you have this, you have your finished PTB, and you can run that from your CMD by actually, I think you just run it. I haven't had to run it here in just a little bit. Oh, is it Sui Client? Let me remember how to do that.
What are you trying to run?
Just run this bat file. Oh, duh. You just run it from your folder. Yeah, just find the file and then you can run it. You can also run it through CMD, but that's one way to do it is from there. Let me look up the way to run it from CMD. It's a little cleaner and it gives you some results when you do that. Um, okay, just type it. So to run that, just go to the location of it. So for me, I need to back up and be in the blacksmith project, and I just run PTB CLI, and that'll run. And we have errors. Return sword. That's weird. Let me check my bat file. Hmm. Short 82. That should work. I don't know why it's not in this instance. Oh, okay, I know why. I used the wrong. No, it should still work. I don't know. Did anybody else have problems running it, or is it just on my side? Because if it's just me, we'll continue ahead. Right. Um, do you see any reason that wouldn't have worked, Daniel?
No, not initially here, I
Yeah,
believe.
it's probably just something small, but that's the basics of how you do it. There's a small error somewhere um, that should work for everybody else. Could not build. Did you mean? Oh, no. Transfer objects, return sword. Huh. Yeah, it's just something weird then. Oh, wait. Okay, I found the problem. I was calling from the one prior, I believe.
Oh, the old
Oh,
package.
yeah, I called from the old package. So this will have worked on your end if you did it right. Um, I copied from the old package.
Oh yeah, I see.
S, and then that should
You
work
might need a new Forge package, Forge address as well.
probably. Okay, well, this will work for new people. As long as you make sure you use the values that we showed you, you won't have duplicates because you haven't run this twice. Um, that was just over here, object ID. So this was the old Forge. Let's pick up the new Forge.
Yeah, it looks like it's working for other people, so all
Okay,
good.
that's good then. Awesome. Copy and paste the new Forge S, and then we'll try that one
It's a
more. No.
bad error code for it.
Hmm.
Like
Could
the
use
error
bug.
code isn't very helpful.
Yeah,
It had
yeah.
nothing to
But
do
I
with
mean, other people have it working, so it's just something
yeah.
with our two packages. So that's good. Okay, so awesome. I'm glad that works for y'all. So that is how to. So now you've already successfully you have written your own package, you've published it, and you've interacted with it with your wallet as you would in just an official environment, just on the test net. We should have time to go through and just look at the TypeScript real quick. I don't know that we'll write it, but I'll go through on my screen, kind of follow along to show you how that
Could you paste
works.
that bat file in the chat just so we can see it?
Yeah, the one that I just made,
Yeah, I just want to take a look.
for sure. My computer. Well, no, it won't let me. Yeah, it's not letting me add it. I'd have to do it through Drive, which I think would eat up.
You can't copy and paste it,
I can try. Let's see, copy.
or just like open it up the
Oh,
content.
it
Like,
says unable to send file due to admin restrictions, even though I'm the admin.
well, like you've been pasting other stuff in the chat. Can you just copy and paste?
Oh, yeah, yeah, my bad. Sorry, I see
Yeah,
what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Boop. All right, there you go.
Thanks.
I bet it just didn't like, well, maybe not. I don't know. But either way, so there's how that works. I will go ahead and show everybody the POAP QR so that you can mint that and get XP for showing up. Um, okay, let me pull that up here. Awesome. Here is that POAP QR code for people who need that. And I'll leave this up here for about 30 seconds or so while I pull up the TypeScript code. Right. Okay, so this is the TypeScript code. It essentially does the same thing. It does the same thing as what we just wrote our um, in our other code and or in our command line interface PTB. And so first off, we're going to import get full node our URL Sui client from the Sui client, and then this is after you will have needed to run to get this to work. You'll need to run you'll need to go into your terminal, new terminal, run npm I at miston/sui, and you'll run that, and then you will also run in. Oh, that's it. Um, Now from there, we import all these from that from what that would install, and then we're going to
Looks like
set.
the POAP wasn't working
Wasn't working.
correctly.
Ooh,
It said mint window ended.
said what window it ended?
Mint window ended.
Oh, huh. This is okay. That is annoying. Okay, copy that code I just sent into chat, and then I will open up a quest on Zeely. I'm going to leave it open for about 15 to 30 minutes. You can claim the XP using that password instead of a POAP, um, and that will get that sorted out. So copy that code, and I will make sure that y'all are able to get XP for attending. But the bad thing, you'll just have to, right after this, you'll have up to 30 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour, put in that code onto Zeely and you'll have some XP. Um, Okay, so for TypeScript, I'm just going to run through this real quick because we're real short on time. We set two constants, RPC URL, which defines our testnet RPC location, and then we create a client, which is a new Sui client, which connects to that RPC. Next up, we need a key pair. And so this is what's going to allow us to sign the contract and, do these transactions that we're attempting to do with our PTB. And for that, you would need to go to your command prompt, um, and then run a, where is this? Sui key tool export, and then your account's alias. So you can go Sui client accounts or active account or address, my bad. Sui client addresses. Okay, so do Sui client addresses, find the address that you need, and write down the alias, and then you can run Sui uh, key tool export followed by that alias. Oh, whoops.
Missing a U.
Oh, Sui key tool export. Oh, I see. Sui key tool export followed by your alias key dash spin, and that'll give you, you hit enter there and it will give you your private key that you can use for your key pair. And so then you would do from secret key and then just paste in the string of what you got back right here into this. Then you initialize your addresses. So you have your package address, which was the address that we had copied earlier, that package ID. You need your forge address, which was that object ID of your forge, and then your admin address, which is going to be keypair.getPublicKey.toSui address, and that's just your address that we had made earlier, the same one that you put into the faucet uh, where everything is being held. Finally, we create a main function, and then we create constant transaction as a new transaction, and this was that CTX we were passing into our function before. And so we're going to move, call, and create sword. We're going to do a move call for create sword. And so we set a variable sword is equal to transaction.move call, and then set the target to the package address, Smithy created world, which is the same as doing this up here before that we had done. And then we have our arguments are going to be our transaction.object, which is our forge address. And then we have a transaction.pure integer. And for me, I put the input to 22. And then a transaction.pure of integer 64 of for your strength then. And I put mine to 26. Then once that runs and then you've created your sword object, you need to transfer that to whatever address you want to, whatever account. And so for that, I use transaction.transfer objects, sword, and we're just transferring it straight to the admin address as before. And that would be the same as doing this line right here. Uh, and then finally, you want to execute the transaction and show the results to the user. So we set our constant result equals await client.sign and execute transaction. The signer is that key pair we use, which verifies it should happen. The transaction of TX. And then we have another constant transaction results, which awaits the client wait for a transaction. And we have our digest and show object changes, show balance changes, just some more diagnostic stuff and also things to make sure that it went through as it should have. And then we're going to log those to the console. And of course, we have our main catch. But that is just a real quick one through of the TypeScript. Both this TypeScript and the code, that batch file we had just written prior, they do the same thing. So it just depends what environment that you're needing to work on this with, or even what language you're more familiar and comfortable with. It kind of just gives a really good catch-all way of interacting with the Sui chain. Okay, so Advitaya, or sorry if I mess up your name, I'm terrible at reading as is. That password right after this workshop, I'm going to go on to Zeely and I'm going to edit the quest. Instead of connecting a POAP, you're just going to type in that password, and that'll be open for 30 minutes to an hour. So it's just going to be password protected. Daniel, did you have anything to add, or before we run out of time here in about 4 minutes?
I'll just say really quickly, like I guess thank you, Wyatt, first of all. And then like for those of you following along, we are recording this, so if you're messed up at any stage of this, you can go back, watch the recording, and catch up. And then we can, if you send a message in the Telegram channel for the Sui bounty, we can also help you there. And then what Wyatt went over was essentially challenge 0 and 1, so you can get a pretty good jump start with that on the challenges. Um, and I right now we have challenges 0 through 3 out, so I'm going to be sending out the deadline slash like due date for those challenges. Should be like maybe in like 2 weeks, a week or something like that. So just keep an eye out for that. But then I will also publish the rest of the challenges as well. But yeah, thanks again, Wyatt.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you all for coming to the workshop. And like you said, if you have any questions, just let us know on the Telegram and I'll get that Zeely quest posted right away. All right. Well, I'm going to end the meeting here then. Thank you all for coming out and hopefully see y'all at Workshop 3.